We have received word that music legend Ozzy Osbourne has died.
Their British rock star Ozzy Osbourne has died at the age of 76.
A voice that defined an entire era of heavy metal has gone silent. Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness, has died at 76. But what really happened in those final days? And why are some fans questioning the official story? Today, we peel back the curtain on the moments the headlines skipped, the emotional truth, the private goodbyes, the eerie signs, and the legacy that refuses to fade. If you've ever turned up Crazy Train to escape, to scream, or to survive, then this video is for you. Hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell, because this is not just a tribute, it's a reckoning. Let's begin. The final days of Ozzy Osbourne. For most of the world, Ozzy remained the larger-than-life rocker, the wild man who bit the head off a bat, defied death, and gave us some of the most iconic music in rock history. But behind closed doors, his final chapter was one of quiet heartbreak. Diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 2003, but only going public in 2020, Ozzy carried his suffering in silence for nearly 2 decades. After a devastating fall in 2019, his health deteriorated rapidly. Chronic pain, nerve damage, and limited mobility became part of his daily life. In his last few months, he was in and out of hospitals, barely able to walk. But he made one request. He wanted to be home, not in a hospital, when the end came. Surrounded by his wife Sharon and his children Jack, Kelly, and Amy, Ozzy's final wish was to be with family, with music, and with peace. His private goodbye. In those final days, Ozzy shut out the world. No producers, no paparazzi, even former bandmates were asked to stay away. He wanted the house quiet, the lights low, and his family near. According to insiders, he had changes, his haunting ballad with Black Sabbath, playing on repeat in his final days. That song, about loss and transformation, suddenly took on a whole new meaning, and then came the whisper. Just days before his passing, Ozzy reportedly turned to Sharon and said, "I'm not afraid anymore." For a man who stared down addiction, fame, and the darkest parts of himself, those 5 words said everything. The announcement and fan shock. When the news finally broke that Ozzy Osbourne had passed, the world stopped. A short statement confirmed he had died peacefully at home, surrounded by love. But the reaction was anything but peaceful. Social media erupted. Within minutes, #Repozzy trended worldwide. Fans from Tokyo to Toronto flooded the internet with tributes. Metalheads, old and young, gathered in parks, clubs, and city squares to hold candlelight vigils. Ozzy wasn't just mourned, he was celebrated. But then came the questions. What happened behind the scenes? Despite Ozzy's visible health struggles, many fans were blindsided. Just months earlier, Ozzy had expressed hope about recording one final track. "If I can sit and sing," he said, "I'll give it one last go." That glimmer of resilience left fans thinking the end was still far off. And yet, strange signs were everywhere. Sharon had gone quiet online. Jack and Kelly had canceled public appearances. Some say they were preparing privately for the worst. Others believe something deeper was going on, especially since Ozzy was moved home from a private medical facility just days before he died. Was it a final act of peace? Or was it something more complicated? The legacy and the letters. While the world mourned, another narrative quietly emerged, Ozzy's will. Sources close to the family revealed he'd revised his will just a year before he passed. While Sharon remains the primary beneficiary, rumors swirled that Amy Osbourne, his eldest daughter who shunned the family spotlight, may have been left out of certain parts of the inheritance. But this wasn't about money. Not really. It was about closure. Whispers of handwritten goodbye letters began to surface. Personal notes left behind for each of his children and Sharon. Not legal documents, emotional ones. filled with memories, regrets, and maybe confessions. Will the public ever see them? Some say yes, that a documentary is already in development. Others say Ozzy's dying wish was for privacy. But one thing is certain, he was trying to make peace, not just with his family, but with himself. The unreleased music and estate battles. Ozzy's vault reportedly holds dozens of unreleased tracks, music he recorded in secret during his final years. Sharon once hinted these songs were meant to be released when he's no longer here. And now, with the dust barely settled, that vault may become the next battleground. Distant relatives, former collaborators, and estranged business partners are allegedly preparing to challenge the estate, not just for money, but for control over Ozzy's legacy. Will we hear those final tracks? Will they honor his memory or tarnish it? That remains to be seen. The spiritual side of the Prince of Darkness. For all his on-stage chaos, Ozzy was haunted by one thing: death. He often described death as a shadow I can't shake. Even in his prime, he suffered from night terrors and panic attacks. He feared dying, not because of what he'd done, but because of what he didn't know was waiting. In his final years, he sought peace, not through religion, but through meditation, energy healing, and long silences. He'd sit alone for hours, just staring out a window. According to Sharon, those were his moments of reflection, of reckoning. Some say he feared punishment, not from the heavens, but from his own regrets. Time lost with his kids, friends he pushed away, words he couldn't take back. But in the end, he found a strange sense of calm. Jack Osbourne told a close friend, he stopped talking about what he'd miss. He started talking about what he gave the world, the man behind the myth. Ozzy Osbourne wasn't perfect, and he never pretended to be. He was a fighter, a survivor, a walking contradiction. Yes, he shocked the world. Yes, he spiraled into addiction and controversy, but he also gave us songs that healed, lyrics that connected with the broken and the lost. War Pigs, Mama, I'm Coming Home, Diary of a Madman. These weren't just metal anthems. They were cries for help and lifelines for others. He didn't die a saint. He died something rarer. He died honest. Final words and lasting impact. Ozzy's death closed a chapter in rock history, but it's not the end of his story. His voice still roars through headphones and car stereos. His face is painted on murals. His words, once screamed in chaos, are now whispered in reverence. He was the Prince of Darkness, but he spent his final days searching for the light. So now it's your turn. What's your most powerful memory of Ozzy Osbourne? Which song hits different now that he's gone? Drop it in the comments. Let's create a digital shrine together. A tribute to a man who lived fast, burned bright, and loved hard. And if this story moved you, hit like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell. Because this channel is where real legends live on. Unfiltered, raw, and never forgotten. Share this video with someone who needs to know that even the darkest spirits can find peace. Because Ozzy didn't just give us music, he gave us truth. And in the end, maybe that's the greatest legacy of all. See you on the next video.